Hey, how's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Now in this video, what I want to do is outline a really simple method you can use to help you decide whether a session you're about to do or an exercise you're about to do is the best choice depending on your goal, and it's going to help your general match fitness, and it's the best bang for, you're going to get the best bang for your buck, the most bang for your buck out of your time training. And it's called the Mercs acronym. So it stands for muscles, energy system, range of motion, contraction type, and speed of movement. So what you would do basically is, depending on the session or the exercise, you would pick one and give it a score in terms of each of these from 1 to 5. A score of 1 would mean that there's not a lot of similarity between what you're about to do and what you would do in a match. A score of 5 would mean that there's a high similarity. So obviously, if you've got two choices, one scores higher than the other, then that's the better choice to go for in the situation. So let's say, for example, you're going out for a run. So you're going out for a steady state run for 30 minutes. Okay, so muscles used. Obviously, it's a full body movement. We're out running. In a match, it's a full body movement. So we're using muscles all over the body. However, during a match, you've obviously got that multi-directional element. In a straight line, steady state run, you haven't got that multi-directional element. So it's not going to be a 5. I'm going to give it a 4 in terms of muscles used. So a score of 4 for that one. Energy system. So long steady state run, you're going to predominantly be training the aerobic energy system, which of course is very important for football because it's going to help you in terms of speeding up your recovery between periods of high intensity. But during a match, you're using all 3 energy systems. If you're going out on this run, you're only using predominantly that one energy system, the aerobic energy system. So it's not as specific as it could be. So energy system, I'm going to give that probably a 2 because it depends on how hard you go during that run. Range of motion. So if we're going out and it's all linear, all in one direction, you're not going to be utilizing the range of motion too much in your hips, around your knees, around your ankles. So again, I'm going to give that probably a 2. And compared to the intensity that you'd be doing these things at during a match, because obviously you might have to control the ball and bring your knee up to control it, things like that. So you're going to be using a greater range of movement. Same when you're decelerating, you're stopping, you're cutting, you're changing direction and you're landing. You're going to be using a greater range of motion around your joints as well to help absorb the forces that you're going to experience on the pitch. Contraction type. So obviously we've got all 3 contractions: eccentric, isometric, and concentric when you're coming into contact with the ground as you're running. But they're not going to be very high intensity. So you've got all 3 contraction types there. But again, I'm probably going to give that a 3. I'm going to be generous to give that a 3. And then speed of movement. If we're going out, it's a steady state run. It's sort of medium to low intensity. Then the speed of movement isn't going to be highly similar to what we experienced in a match. Obviously, there are long periods of a match where you're walking and you're sort of moving at medium intensity, but you've also got that really important match-changing scenarios which are very high intensity as well. So speed of movement, also the speed of movement of your limbs. So obviously, when you're playing in the match, you're going to be striking the ball, which requires you to move your limbs very quickly, and you're going to be sprinting, so you're going to be moving your arms very quickly as well. So speed of movement in terms of a long steady state run, I'm going to give that probably a 2. Okay, so you can see that we've given that option to go out for a long steady state run a score. But can we better this score? Can we use our training time in a better way? I would argue that you probably could. So in terms of muscles used, you could, so let's say, for example, instead of going for a steady state run, you can get down to a park or a pitch with some agility poles, some markers, take a football down there as well so you can get the ball involved. And obviously you're going to be using all the muscles in the body as you move around, but you're going to be cutting, changing direction. So I'm going to give that 5 if we can go out on the pitch and do something that's multi-directional and has different speeds of movement instead. Energy systems, we can use all 3 energy systems because we can do it in intervals and change the intensity of different segments of the session. So we can give that a 5 as well because we're not just doing one intensity the whole time. Range of motion, if you're cutting, landing, changing direction, then we're going to be using a greater range of motion around our joints to absorb the force. If you can get a training partner as well to feed you some balls, maybe they feed you some aerial balls, then you're going to be utilising that in terms of, again, getting your knee up and controlling the ball, things like that. Also, you might do that as part of your warm-up, might be going over some hurdles as well, for example. So we can give that a 5 as well. Okay, contraction type. Again, we're going to be using all 3, but we're going to be doing it at varied intensity. So we can give that a 5. And speed of movement, we can do low intensity stuff, we can do medium intensity stuff out on the pitch, but we can also do the high intensity bursts as well in short spells. So speed of movement, we can give that a 5 as well. So you can see if we've got 30 minutes to use, and you know we can get outside, we can use the pitch if we want to, and you've got 2 options. Depending on what your goal is and what you feel like doing, we can actually see that getting some markers out, getting some agility poles out, getting down to a pitch and doing some football-specific work, which has different intensities, gets the ball involved, changes the direction, some jumping, some landing, some cutting, is going to help you, and it's going to help you progress further in terms of your match fitness and feeling fitter on the football pitch compared to if you just went out and did a steady state run. Of course, you can still do that. It has got some things that are going to benefit you, has got some things that is going to help you in the pitch in some ways, but it's not as specific as it could be. So you're not going to get as much bang for your buck out of your training time. So hope that helped. Some other exercises we could use this with, for example, exercises in the gym. So you might see an exercise such as someone doing a bench press and they're a footballer, and you might be thinking, why are they doing a bench press? They don't do anything that looks like a bench press in a match. How is that going to help them? Well, if you try and think outside the box, how is that going to help them? Obviously, footballers need upper body strength to hold players off, and we've got that movement as we're pushing off players, maybe as you're attacking for a corner as well. So that's obviously specific to that movement that you're doing in the bench press. We've also got the fact that as you've got players challenging you, you need to hold them off. And if you're going up for headers, you need to sort of be able to use your upper body to fend players off and be dominant in the air. So in a bench press exercise, it might not look too similar. You're never going to get, start doing press ups or bench press on the pitch during a match. But the muscles that you're using are really important for football performance. And because bench press is a compound movement using a number of muscle groups, then you could argue that that is specific and it is going to help you in terms of your football performance out on the pitch. But again, you can score that in terms of all of these, and it depends on your goal. So instead of a bench press, you might do some explosive press ups where you do like a clap in between each press up. So that would change sort of the speed of movement. So it might be more that element as you're pushing off a player. So you can see how we can use this simple method to give exercises and sessions a score, which are going to help you pick the right thing to do in the situation depending on your goal. So I hope this helped you. Remember, it's called the Mercs acronym: muscles, energy system, range of motion, contraction type, and speed of movement. Okay, hope you got a lot of value from this video. Please share it with your teammates and coaches if you think this is going to help them as well. And I will catch you in the next video.